All right, all right. Good day, good day, good day. And I would like to welcome all of you to a great morning for All for Success. Uh-oh, stand by. I'm getting some feedback. Well, you know how it is, of course, in this techno age. We have to fumble with our settings. We got to fumble with the sound. We've got to make sure we can hear something. So I need all eyes on point to stay together, and we're going to see if we can get this chat off the ground without too much negative drama. Okay. So let's all get ready to get going on our wonderful chat this morning. Oh my goodness, I had a fairly long weekend. I forgot what my schedule was going to be over the weekend, so I apologize because normally I try to do this chat on Saturdays. But I thought, well, I'll try Sunday morning. We'll see how it fits in. And thank you guys all that you could be here, everyone that could. I'm glad that you're here. So, as you see, we're doing our coffee makeup like we always do. So, get ready to sit down and relax, have your coffee if that's what you're going to have this morning. Or for those of you who are out and about running errands, or if I'm catching you before you get ready to head off to church. Either way, I hope I have a moment of your time, even while you're getting ready or in motion to do what you're getting ready to do. So, this is a short chat today. At least I always begin by saying that, and then we'll see what happens as I go along because we've all been basically viewing what's happening in the world around us and what's been going on in Sussex world. So, Sussex world, for the most part, has been active in their normal, general way. The big events that they did have recently, the phenomenal trip to Nigeria, the announcement of different things that are being posted by the American Riviera Orchard, which is still producing wonderful things that I would call home economics, the type of things that if you're really into being a very good homemaker and upscaling your cooking skills and making things pretty, wonderful, and comfortable in your home and in your life, I think that is fantastic. I always marvel at people who have the ability to take a just basic room in a house and make it feel so welcoming and inviting by just putting up the right pictures in the right place or putting a plant on the right table. Um, it is amazing when I see those who can do that and do it well. There are a number of huge magazines that are dedicated to home interior, home design. One of the most popular magazines, at least when I was younger, and I don't know, it depends on your age if you are familiar with this magazine. It was called Town and Country. It was a huge magazine here in the US. Almost every housewife had a subscription to this magazine. It was the epitome of style and home economics or home decor and making the home a wonderful and an inviting place. We have very big proponents of home interior. Of course, when you say all things home design, the name Martha Stewart is at the forefront. And she is also a person who took what was going on in the house, the cooking, the cleaning, the decorating to make your home or your space comfortable. Martha Stewart really introduced that to everyone in America as far as that being something to strive toward. It became huge and it was also a huge business. So when I see what Meghan Markle and the Duchess of Sussex is getting ready to put out, it to me feels along that line in that same vein. It's like the increase in attention to detail in your home and in your environment. And it is amazing because that is one of the first and the best places to start in order to uplift yourself and your community is to begin in the home. So with that said, I hope that that makes sense, and I am looking forward to seeing what work they may be doing with that product line so in the future. And so we're all excited to see what that's going to become, especially people who are very interested in making wonderful recipes and the jams and jellies and things like that, things that you make from scratch, which are, in my book, very hard. Okay, okay. Let's see if I'm still on here. Okay, I'm hoping that you can hear me here. Let's see. Okay, so this slide that I put up really quickly was the area that I traveled through this weekend. For those of you who may not be familiar, this is in the region of Virginia called the Blue Ridge Parkway. So I just wanted you to have an idea of what my view looks like as I travel across that area. I think it is absolutely gorgeous, and I would love for everyone to see it. But if you want to travel along the Blue Ridge Parkway, you do have to be comfortable with curvy roads, mountainous areas. So you have to be comfortable with curvy roads, mountainous areas. But in exchange, you will see glorious views like this. You will look out over the mountainside and you can see the beautiful tree line for miles. Now, I want to warn you, if you do take it upon yourself to ever go through this area, if you're ever in Virginia, and this is along the border between Virginia and West Virginia, please be aware these are two different states, and that's a long running joke between those two states and competition. But if you're ever riding along in these areas, especially these parkways, just be advised there's not a lot of um, built up exit areas that take you into areas where you have like a lot of restaurants and a lot of things like that. They actually ride you through the more rural and empty areas, but it is a beautiful view. And I want you to note that parkway that you're looking at, there are no telegram poles with lights. So if you do happen to hit that area at night and you're not like me, meaning you don't know that area very well like I do, if you didn't grow up over there in those hills like I did, then what you might want to do is travel in the daytime. Okay. I would not put you out there at night. That could be a challenge. But it is beautiful and it is something to see. So I just wanted you all to know that I truly did travel a little bit. And that's why I missed out on doing this wonderful gathering on Saturday. So just keep in mind and welcome to the Blue Ridge Parkway should you ever want to visit that area. Okay, so now we're getting into it. Getting into it. All right, so as we're getting ready to get started, folks, remember, hit that like button. Hit it, hit it, hit it. Hit the like button. Please like and share if you can. Let's see if I can get my numbers up. I'm not chasing numbers, but I would like to increase my numbers because as I get more and more practice doing my wonderful chat, I would love to see greater and greater response to some of the feedback that I put out. This is exciting for me. So please hit the like, share, and um, always subscribe. And you might want to also re-hit or recheck your notification bell, because I'm hearing from other people that many people are losing their notifications. Like they are saying, "Oh, well, I used to get a notification, but now I don't." So periodically, you may have to go back and check into that. I do not know why. It is beyond me why that would be a problem. It's crazy. So, also, all of you who are fitness folks, please put in the chat any of your fitness journeys. I love to hear about what everyone is doing, and how they're keeping track of going walking, exercising, and especially if you're participating in yoga or something like that. Please let us know in the chat, and that way you give all of the rest of us ideas on what we can do to stay fit. So let's try to help keep each other moving along in that realm. Does that make sense? I hope so. So join in and let's stay fit. Now, enough of that and me and all of the, what do you call it? Me and all of the blathering on that I'm doing. I hope that I hope that we can get to talking about some things that we like. Okay, all together now. So, as is the case, we will always continue with keeping everyone advised. And this is where I come with the all things in the Sussex support arena. This is a Sussex friendly space, and I intend to keep it that way. Not that you can't talk about other things or comment in any way that you feel inclined to, but that I am looking at things through the eyes of being Sussex friendly. What I'm not doing, and I want to, this is something that I've heard other people speak about a little bit. What I'm not doing is giving you some sort of description of perfection in other people. I can't even tell you how another person is on the scale of perfection. But there are some things that I have seen as I've watched this family grow that lead me to believe more that they are being mistreated systematically. And therein is the key to some of my derision and the difficulties that I have with dealing with what they're dealing with. Because the abuse in that is the term that makes sense to me, because of the directed attacks that are being handled in a systematic fashion by an institution, I cannot, for me, I cannot abide seeing that um, level of an imbalance in what is happening with the Sussex family, right? It's one thing if I thought, oh, these are two giant juggernauts, and so they're going at it. For example, Facebook versus Twitter, right? These are two giants in the industry. They're going at it. So you're going to step back and go, well, let's see who wins. But it is another thing when you're looking at a juggernaut of an institution that is effectively set its sights on the destruction of just two individuals. That is a different thing. And that is something that I cannot support that, right? It's similar to imbalances that people are observing in other areas of our world and conflicts. People all around the world are watching a conflict escalate in many, many different countries. And I don't need to be specific, but many of you are aware of conflicts in different areas, different countries are having conflicts with what might be assumed to be a much greater power, a much vaster force. And yet you're watching somewhat of a smaller or somewhat of a weaker side attempting to hold off or hold at bay a juggernaut, a giant industry of attack, or in some cases, warfare. And you're watching the other side that is far less, they have far less resources, they have far less abilities, they have far less at their disposal, and yet they are being constantly barraged and attacked. And this is something that you're even viewing worldwide in many warfare type situations. So with the Sussex family, I have to say, the UK media and the institutions continue to attempt to make every thought about the royals, right? What they are trying to do, and this is something I like to always remind people, is that they are really trying to put their fingers inside of your mind so that you cannot be positive about anything associated with the words or the names Harry and Meghan. They have set forth an agenda to taint and to dirty, to muddy up any perception of Harry and Meghan. So no matter what they do, they have an entire machine dedicated to telling a story of how whatever they're doing is negative. They go to Nigeria. It's a beautiful trip. The sun is shining. People are clapping. But the UK media instead tried to take the event and focus on various people in the nation of Nigeria and what they may have been involved in. If there was anything negative that they could bring up about people that they met, they did. If they could attack anyone that they talked to, the UK media and the institution did that as well. They did whatever they could to taint and reduce, to dirty this trip. Now, this trip was about what? The Invictus Games coming to Nigeria. And they have featured a number of wonderful soldiers. Of course, I won't go into that specifically until maybe later next week or so. Some of the people who they actually are telling some of their backstories. And for many of us who have watched the Invictus on Netflix, if they do a presentation, they do a marvelous job of letting us know some of the backstories of the lives of the people who are participating. They highlight an individual and how they are working very hard to overcome some challenge. And for all of us who enjoyed watching those things, you learn a lot about those people. It's fantastic. Did the UK media feature any of that? Not at all. The UK media, the UK institutions, the entire media blitz campaign that involved Harry and Meghan going to Nigeria was only to pick apart and dissect anything they could find that was negative. And why is this? It's again because of what I put on this up on this board right now. It's because one, they don't have any sense of real purpose. So they find a way to try to make their ability to exist in opposition to Harry and Meghan. They constantly need outside validation. The UK media and the firm, they're constantly trying to find a way to feed on the people. They constantly need to be validated because, like I said above, they have no real sense of purpose any longer. They're not doing the things that they could do to uplift the people because so much of what they do is performative, right? It's no different than someone standing on a stage pretending, right? They're acting. So then there's constantly this need that they seem to have of constantly calling on the US. They're constantly trying to invade, if you will, the home of Harry and Meghan, and they're trying to instigate themselves, to situate themselves in the mindset of all Americans. And they even have these, what I call, I don't know, bots perhaps, maybe real people. For me, one or the other, they're kind of the same, but they're trying to import this idea that Americans don't like Harry and Meghan, and they're really trying very hard to remove any favorable treatment of them from the American psychology. They really want to have their hands, their fingers, and whatever in how they want the US to see things. Now, let's be honest. And, here's a note to anyone who ever hears what I'm saying. Please get a grip on yourself and understand you will never, ever have the Americans. It's not possible. Yeah, you'll get a couple people here and a couple people there that will do your bidding, because what is America about? People who will almost do anything for money, right? So if any actor, star, or anybody around, if they think that it'll earn them $1 to grin in your face, shake your hand, act like your friend, you know what? For the UK firm or the UK media, they'll do it, but you will never really have them. So just keep that in mind, because that's America. All right. It's my home. I love it. And so I have to tell you, that is how we operate. It's not a secret either. But anyway, it's very important that you understand that the royals, they simply expect people to accept their abuse. They simply expect to abuse, and they have made their existence one of abusing people and hoping that you enjoy being abused and that you will continue to try and participate in accepting their abuse. Sad, but absolutely true. It's just the way they operate. So, as I said before, keep in mind, protect your mind from being captured. And I know, again, it is Sunday, so you all do have to allow me a break when I say I do refer to Bible verses from time to time. So, since it's Sunday, cut me some slack. No, I'm not trying to recruit you into any type of cult, but I always think it's fun to mention where I get some of my thoughts from. So, in this particular scripture that's placed here, I just say basically protect your mind from being captured. Just make sure that you don't allow other people, other things to come into your mindset and the way you think to try to take your mind over and lead you down some sort of bizarre pathway. Just don't do it. Don't let it happen. So, what I would like to say as we look upon what was going on here, we just passed through Mother's Day, we passed through Father's Day, and we always have this talk in the UK world about how the how for some reason we're supposed to believe that Charles or the king is somehow interested, the same we're supposed to believe about Meghan's father, Thomas Markle. We're supposed to be somehow swayed that they have this wonderful feelings of warmth and conscientiousness in seeing the children of Harry and Meghan. Somehow we're supposed to envision that Thomas Markle and King Charles have this desire to want to see these wonderful children playing and running about at their feet. I want you all to think about that for a moment while I take a second and let me look at the comments section. I want you all to ponder on that for just a moment. Okay? And I'm going to say good morning to people while you're pondering on that thought. Okay? Let's ponder. So I want to say good morning on the side note. Good morning to King for Concepts. Yes, thank you for being here. Yay, I'm so glad you're here. It's crazy. I would like to say also good morning to is simply VEGO, Vigo. Simply Vigo, hello and hello, hello, and welcome to All for Success. Thank you too for being here. I am so glad to see you this morning in the chat. Oh my goodness. I see a super chatter. These are super squatties. Miss Connie Balmer, thank you, thank you, thank you for all the beautiful flowers, and good morning to you as well. And wouldn't you know it, it is at this moment, of course, I'm getting notifications that my wonderful bandwidth might be a little bit reduced, but we're going to just keep moving along anyway. Thank you so much, Connie Balmer, for being here. So glad to see you online. And welcome, Raffaella Battoni. Thank you also for being here. I am so glad that you are here to say, look and say ciao to people, and you're calling on everyone. And yes, it is a happy Sunday. We want to keep it that way. So thank you guys for being here. I am so glad that you are here in the chat. We also have, I believe, Judy says hi to everyone. And thank you also for being here. I'm so glad you guys are here in the chat. It's too great of a day to be missing out, don't you think? Glad you're here. So now back to the flow. Okay. Did you all think about that for a moment? About the fact that Grandpa Thomas Markle and Grandpa King Charles in the media, now I want you all to understand that in the media, there are printed stories written by I have no idea who, stating how these two grandparents feel about seeing their grandchildren. Now, of course, we have to be aware that, for one, when these articles are written either online or in some magazine, and they're written by a person who you never heard of, most of the time these are writer contributors to magazines, and they might get paid $100 for keeping up an article every 2 days being delivered to an online forum. Their job is actually to participate and interact and to provide content for various websites, right? Because these websites that are media websites, and I'll give you an example, like Yahoo, actually, like a Yahoo page. Well, in order for their content to constantly change or stay up to date, there are people that are paid to simply write an article about something that's going on current every other day or every day. These are paid writers. So they'll say things in their stories like King Charles would like, or it is rumored that King Charles wants. And they use these words, uh, friends have said, it has been rumored, people are saying. And the reason they can write an article that begins with such nonsense is because even if it's made up, it doesn't matter, because the actual individual is not cataloged and is not quoted as actually saying it. So all of these storylines, they are basically fan fiction, right? And that is something that it's interesting to me that the broader world, and I'm going to say the broader savvy interactor with online stories and even magazines, that they're not savvy to this and they don't seem to understand it. Or rather, maybe I should say, they still seem to be emotionally connected with these types of fan fictions, right? Because everything that is produced for consumption for the masses, and that would be us, the peasants, it is fan fiction, right? Because you haven't ever seen King Charles step up to the mic and make an announcement of, here is how I feel about my grandchildren, and here is where I'd like for my son to spend his time. There are supposed hints of he would like for them to come to Balmoral, or hints that he would like for them to attend this event or that. But these things are fan fiction, right? So I cannot tell you in my mind how in the world anyone of any rationality, just understanding families, right? We are all in families to a degree. Even those of us who have lost family members or lost sisters, brothers, and parents, even though you may have had these losses or you didn't get the opportunity to grow up in this close knit family event, we are still a part of communities and family type structures, right? And it is first within that structure that you generally experience some of your initial conflicts, right? Families are never immune to conflicts. And we all have spent our lifetime developing methods to cope with, deal with, adjust to, or de escalate various conflicts. Why would the royal family be any different? Well, they're not. So they have an animus between each other for various reasons, and each person has decided how they intend to handle it. And so you have to let them do that, even though we may not agree sometimes with their choices. But what the difference in this realm is every speculation, every thought makes money if we all create fan fiction around it, right? So as you see, I mean, I like these pictures here where they're just walking along with their children in the beautiful field of green. So I could derive any number of possible things that Harry is thinking about or is concerned with, but I really don't know. And there are writers that are giving stories like Harry wants to come back to the UK. Harry needs this and that. My thoughts are, and here's my this is my take, right? And again, I'm basically delivering fan fiction. I think Harry is laser focused on these lawsuits. And I think he's laser focused on them for a specific reason, right? And I believe that that reason lies very close to vengeance. Okay. Now that's just my thought. Now everyone else, they can think it any other kind of way. But I tend to have this type of feeling that that is his focus. That is what he is doing. All these other things he's going to continue to do. He's going to continue to work with Invictus and all these other types of things are going on. But in my intuition, based on parenting, understanding people as they grow up and their posture and what they're doing and dealing with, I see him locked in on that mission in life, and I see that as his single most intense focus. I could be wrong, but I think we need to stay in the flow and see. But anyway, this is the type of article that was written up here, and it's akin to fan fiction that our wonderful Grandpa King and the family, they're hoping that all of the healing will happen by seeing the wonderful grandchildren, and then all things will wash away. Um, okay, I think we can all just kind of stand back and let's just see if that's the case. I don't see it. But hey, you know what? Maybe. So for these guys, what they have to remember, and for all of us who are watching from a distance, is to keep your eyes and keep yourself aware of how you are to survive a smear campaign, and to understand that smear campaigns are generally authored by the person who is the narcissist themselves. And you know, this word has become popular. It's become popular to always throw out the word he or she is a narcissist. I can't tell you the number of articles I've perused through where you're supposed to gain from it that Megan is a narcissist. And the reason why is because we've made that a bad word over the past 4 or 5 years. We've taken that word from I guess, from the popular um, dictionary. When I say that, I mean pop culture dictionary. And we've taken an actual diagnosis for an illness, right, which is what it was. And we have made it a common, popular term to throw on anyone who simply thinks about themselves, right? And of course, it's natural as a human being for you to be human being self first, right? It is not normal. Actually, it is more natural for you to think about yourself first. Isn't that correct? Except that difficulty when you become a parent. And that, of course, you start to say, oh, well, I want to do this, make sure it's done for the kids. I want to think about the kids. That kind of changes that perspective, right? But that is why they make that announcement on the airplane, which I love to use all the time, that quote. Please put your own air mask on first before you turn to assist anyone else. Get yourself straight before you start helping someone else. You'll pass out in the meantime. Okay. And so that's important. But this smear campaign, you know, is generally thrown into the limelight when people try to end a relationship. Like if you try to break off a relationship with someone, oh my goodness, it sends them into a spiral. And isn't that the way the royal family has behaved? Or the royal firm? Harry and Meghan are decided. Harry and Meghan decided some time back we're going to have to break off this relationship because it's just not working for us. And that created a situation where they had to just gin up a smear campaign and they had to escalate constantly. And people say that to protect yourself from these type of smear campaigns, one of the major strategies that they put out is they say pick your battles and do not attempt to rebuke or to respond to every single allegation. Now, I know for us watching this, we find that very difficult. I feel that every single lie that is told about them, they should refute. But it would appear that most people say you shouldn't do that. I would have a hard time with that. And they say basically decide which time, they say be very careful and decide somewhat strategically which thing you are going to absolutely refute. Which thing is it that you're going to come out in public and say, I didn't say that? And I have noticed that in the past year, there have been at least two or three of these things, right? It's one, of course, was when Harry got on a plane and went to visit his father, who had said he announced his cancer diagnosis. And I thought that that was very timely because since that announcement was so large and so significant, it did make sense for him to exemplify that I am concerned and that I will come and see you to let you know how concerned I am. So in that particular case, I thought him doing that was a good idea because otherwise the story would have gone into he doesn't care, he's not going to go see his father, and on and on and on. The fan fiction would have taken over. So I think in those cases, he actually made a very good choice. All right, so let me back up here as I start to get closer to the end here, I'm going to see if I'm missing any other commentary. Let's see who I can see. If there, if I can see, if I missed, I don't think I missed anyone. If I did miss anyone here in the chat, please, please, please forgive me for doing that. I don't mean to. Sometimes I see a note or something that someone wrote and I find it very funny and I have to laugh when I read it. You guys have been very good so far today. And thank you all for being here again. So, last, one more time, I have to beg, last time, right? Please don't forget to click the like button. Tell all your friends. And please subscribe so you will get the announcements hitting the notifications. That's always a good idea. So, as I told you, readers of all this stuff, beware. Beware of what you are reading because it is absolutely bizarre. Okay. Oh, I do see one more comment that just popped in. I want to say, good morning. I hope it will show you. Joyce Anderson, welcome, welcome, welcome this Sunday morning. Thank you. Yes, you almost missed me. I was definitely twirling around out there in the woods of the Blue Ridge Parkway. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate it. It's so fantastic. But you guys make sure that you definitely stay aware of what you're reading and try to help others understand what they think they heard and what they think they read. It is, side note, sometimes I am still taken aback, even by people who are in my own world, who simply hear the surface conversation and they report their attitude based on just the surface conversation. And I will say, in even the US media, the surface conversation can very quickly lead people to a negative perception of Harry and Meghan. They quickly relate to South Park episodes and make fun of them. They think that's funny. Or they relate to some negative event with the Markle family and they find that nervous laughter of derision. And I have done this because I enjoy it. I have generally had to sit side by side with some of these folks and show them where they are making an error. I've had to pitch to them, well, this is what you saw from them because they are absolutely famous. They are very well known. And look at the work that they do. Look at the good things they produce. But let's look at who is actually talking about them. And let's look at their record. And every now and then I do get people coming over to my side of things. And I work very hard. And this, readers beware, I just wanted you to know, let's look at what this person wrote. And I put down here who wrote it. The name of the person I think is Hindrihi Maitra. I'm not sure. But this was an individual that was just basically a contributor to one of the websites. And they're saying that years after leaving the royal fold and airing out one bombshell after another against the family, Prince Harry seems to be finally reconsidering. Again, that's a story, fan fiction. Harry, and I highlighted the word seems. So they're not quoting Harry. They're not quoting anything Harry put out, but they wanted to put out that story to make you think that this is something that you can believe Harry would think or say. Now, we're going to wrap up here, and definitely we're not going to stick with this long. These are some of the quick photos that they threw out of the wonderful family that is going to be the face of the royal family for the next 30 years, right? At least they're going to be the face of what is the royal family, and everyone else, of course, will begin to fall by the wayside. And we're supposed to be in awe of your current Prince William getting out of a car. I want everyone to cheer because that's a phenomenal activity. When he got out of the car, we need to let you know that that is an accomplishment. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a quick round of applause. Okay, so that's phenomenal, people. Okay, let's let that be known. Also, we want everyone in the world to know that he took the children to a Taylor Swift concert in London. She actually was appearing there. And so we definitely have to get the world of Taylor Swift and all of her fans, we definitely have to make her fans believe that Taylor Swift is on the side of the royal firm. So once again, everyone in the photo, Charlotte is so excited, and George is there, the future king of the UK. And Prince William, I kind of cut him out of the picture, but he's in the background. So once again, everyone, let's give another round of applause. Okay. Why? Because we're supposed to believe once again that this is phenomenal activity. Okay. That these two photos and snapshots mean that they are doing something. Okay. Because as you are trying to imitate Harry and Meghan, it is photos, of course, without any substance. Okay. And here are some more. And these we won't give applause to, but we just want to make sure we note. I thought it was very intriguing that he's giving a hand up. Everyone wanted to announce, look at how wonderful and caring he is, helping Carol Middleton, who is the mother of Princess Catherine, helping her as her heel is stuck somewhat in the grass. Oh, and making sure that she keeps her balance. Oh my goodness. Look at that. Isn't that wonderful? And here we are also, we're jumping in the air. I guess this is our beach vacation photo as we are jumping in the air over the beach shrubs, I guess down onto the sand. I'm supposing, I have no idea what this was supposed to be. It actually reminded me of a stock footage photo of someone on a beach scene. And folks, come along with me. I don't mean to be cruel. I just don't know why are you trying to do this? And then, of course, the children at the trooping of the color. Because what are we about to do? What we're about to do is launch these children into the space of camera fodder for the royal firm. They are now going to move into mascot territory. And we're hoping that everyone watching is going to see how they fill this space. So get ready, boys and girls. This is what you have coming down the line. Okay? So let's give a resounding sound of applause because evidently they need it. Now, back to reality. Here's what's happening in the reality of the royal firm. These are pictures of demonstrators, or actually the results of their demonstration. And I'm hoping you all can kind of see this. So recently, someone threw what would appear to have been blood splatter on the on one of the fountains near Buckingham Palace. And this blood spatter, it was like a red paint, I'm assuming, and it made the water look like blood flow in the fountain. This is not good. This is not a good look for the royal firm. As they are trying to present how everything is going great, everything is on the up and up, these demonstrations are becoming more visible, and they're becoming more than an afterthought. And with something like this in particular, this is like the youth, and I say the youth because generally there are younger people who are behind the actual actions that are going on. But you've got to take a moment. You have to settle yourself to believe they need to pay attention, because this is the type of unrest that grows. And these little crazy moments of demonstrations, they often become bigger and less friendly. So I just wanted to point that out, that this blood, what I call duplicate or look-alike, that is not a good look, because it is actually saying something about how they feel the position of the royal firm to be. In other words, the growing sense that these people are bloodthirsty and cruel, and there is nothing about them, not even their interaction with their family at these times, and all of these things that might be happening in the background between various family members. Because I was of the mindset that perhaps Carol Middleton showing back up and Kate showing back up with after her cancer diagnosis to her beautiful display at Trooping of the Color. I mean, many people are thinking, at least like I'm thinking, and I'm going to use the word seems, that it would seem that perhaps this is a financial benefit for the Middleton family, because everyone is aware that they definitely needed it. So it would seem that the royal firm is trying to pay people off, buy people off, in order to secure their plausible future. Plausible, okay? Because they are definitely finding themselves in a difficult position. All right, let's wrap it up. And I told you I wasn't going to stay long, but as you can see, I am mistaken. Lastly, as I say, I'll always like to refer to a couple of things and give folks an opportunity to say, let's see who's here last. Okay, let's see who's here lastly. My last round of comments. Lorna Williams. She has in here that the picture of him jumping up on the beach, Willie Leaks, I love it, on the beach is Photoshop. You know what? I hate to think so, but it definitely, she said, it looks, your hair should be moving up, and instead her hair is moving. The photo itself, I mean, the thing that people count on. Thank you so much, Lorna Williamson. Welcome, and I'm so glad you're here. One of those things that everyone cannot count on. Listen, that photo, just the entire posture of that photo, I'll bet you if you go to Google and search through pics, you will probably find stock photos just like that, where there are models doing that. You're going to see that. And the reason I say that is because that definitely brought up a memory for me. So, let's have some fun. Let's look through some of those stock photos. I bet you're going to find probably that exact shot of a family, stock family. It's amazing. It's like, why would you do that? Okay, so lastly, guys, here's the last things I want to say. These are the things, like I said, keep the faith and stay strong. Continue to support what you believe you should support. Continue to support the people that you think you should support. Continue to keep your eyes out and focused on some of the things, the manipulations that people are trying to put out there on us. This is really an assault on mankind. It's a basic assault to try to make to make the masses believe and think things that simply are not true. So if you refer to Colossians in the Bible, and again, no cult references, people, and they say, be careful that no one takes you captive through philosophy, right? Or empty deceit. Remember the empty deceit that is on human tradition. And there's nothing more traditional than the royal firm. So be careful of that. There's nothing wrong with that institution, like the Catholic Church. It's the Catholic Church. But be careful that these institutions don't try to take over and hold you captive, because they are based on elemental forces of the world, and they're not based, of course, here in the Bible, on Christ. So let's put that in layman's terms. They're based on the world, not necessarily based on what is good for people, right? So just keep that in mind. And then Second Timothy also says something similar, that Evil people and imposters, they will go from bad to worse to deceive others. Have we not witnessed that? Have we not witnessed over the past couple of years their desire to try to disparage Harry and Meghan, constantly copying them, constantly imitating them, constantly trying to give you the perception that they too can be like Harry and Meghan? Harry and Meghan, who are people who've actually held jobs, people who've actually worked in the world. They're not pretending to communicate with regular people. They've actually interacted with regular people. And here you have the royal firm attempting to send out their people that are at this elite level and have been handled throughout their entire lifetime. And they're trying to present them to you as regular guys and gals who you could hang out with too. Unbelievable. But as for you, continue in what you have learned and found to be true. So basically, remember what you know to be true. And that is because you have learned it. You know it and you've learned it. So keep that in mind. And that is how I would like to round up and finalize how we are going to continue to support the Sussex family. So, folks, remember, let's try to remember, and I'm going to let you guys go. I promise. Stay positive and keep winning because I truly believe that the Sussex family will do the same. Thank you guys again for being here. Thank you so much. Don't forget, like and share and subscribe on your way out. And don't forget to check your notification bell. Make sure it's still up and running. And we're going to keep this going. And you guys, chat with me, drop any comments, any ideas, anything if you're wanting me to look into, I'll be happy to try to do that. So have a great Sunday, and I hope I didn't make anyone late for anything they were trying to do. Enjoy.